The Federation of Free Planetary Worlds. Movie 4. Vortex, Orbs, and Crossover Video. Dialogue on the Vortex. Presented by Euthrania Sela Centanares Cortez, and Jamie Centanares Cortez. Opening words by Jamie Centanares Cortez. In darkness is enlightenment. In the fullness of light are blindness and deception. Good day toward all those beings whom, as elated as you may be with the mysteries of this earth, sky, and phenomenon of your present life journey, and what ye once term as the afterlife, may also find this our other work most interesting, and offer up to ourselves your suggestions. Sequenced levels of eternity. As there are sequenced levels of eternity, so are there sequenced levels of reaching those eternities. However, the way forward here will not be granted until such hour as the progression of a human, or of the group therapy of a humanity in question, severely upgrades itself, in not so much technical achievements, but that which must preside as a prelude, and that is the moral and ethical achievement of their very souls and understanding of the universal principle in all developments, in all walks of life, leaving out never the standard of the main rule of the universe, and that in itself is equated to the golden rule of, treat one another as you would have them treat yourself. However, the rule of thumb on this planetary world, seems for the most part, to be the very opposite, and the religious tendencies is always to foster sacrifice, and those sacrificed are the very ones sacrificed in wars by the monetary convenience of the day, and the other and main rule of thumb is, under universal principle, to caretake and live with equality side by side with the animals, and other non-human sentient forms, which is an inconvenience like no other for this most primitive global society. For most it is a most selfish inconvenience to not eat the very ones of their own flesh and blood, for likened to humans the very flesh and blood of animals and other sentient beings are not too diverse from that of humans. So is the sacrifice less or different? No, it is exactly the same. Greed and religion are disparate concepts, yet they each of them or both have caused mass human extinction throughout the ages. A totality is made up of parts, much as we comprise you, he, she, they, the beasts, the plants, the rocks, the stars and the rest of the universe. Words by Jamie Centanares Cortez. Sectional eternities. For there are also sequenced levels of eternity such as your minds cannot know at this hour, save that for a few. Data entry on the 5th day of the 1st Gregorian year 2017 in the future. Philippine time whilst I am in Canada. Inserted data from our personal records. Words by Euthrania Sela Centanares Cortez. Dearest sweetheart. I just got up to the bathroom, and when I stepped out of the bathroom the same effect happened to my eyes as they did the night where I stepped directly into the vortex in the hallway. They began flickering like a camera shutter. But that is not why I am writing to you, my dearest love. It is for this reason alone. When I climbed into my bed and lay down, my entire body began, I am trying to think of a word, and symbiotic came to me, but that does not quite fit unless it speaks of the positive of the benefiting of one another. Anyway, allow me to explain it in this fashion. The flesh of my entire body began moving. I could feel it swirling inside. I think there is now a mechanism in which the very cellular structure of my physical body also is being injected with the fluid, or being somehow affected by the caliber of fluid which the very vortex is made up of. It was definitely a strange feeling, as though all flesh and organs were all of a sudden floating inside of my body, and not necessarily in the same solid positions they had been in, but dislocated from one another, mixing with one another in cellular structure. I find all this quite fascinating, but just a little unnerving as well, due to the fact only that I was not expecting this, and well, my love, it is definitely a strange experience to actually feel one's very flesh and organs, all part of the same here, moving and swirling around except for my head. The greatest effect was in the trunk of my body. I want so much to succeed in our attempts to be physically together again that I am really focusing in depthly, as well as are you, my love, and great progress by the two of us is indeed being made, I agree. I see a scene and work to make it happen using more of my mind, and I suppose as we put out our focus so strongly, that the universe reads it and works with what is there, and what is there is the vortex. Remember, the latest picture photo you took after the orbs and planets and how it reverted to the vortex streamlining in? Well, this is what I mean as we sew it or weave it all together. But another thought came to me, and that is that our vortex we have so conscientiously been working upon creating, has opened up a vortex also into allowing the interlapping universe, not overlapping, but interlapping universe to be seen, and of this had I noticed earlier. Remember when I mentioned it in the earlier of picture taking when it began? And that being the reason precisely why, when you took the pic of upon first glance were orbs, we found there was much more involved. With the shifting of the atomic molecular substance of our bodies, my love, this could also be the intended beginning of one more criteria of fascination, and that is, the cellular structure may correct any damage done to organs, and especially to correct, say, eyes, unshapely legs, for 2 examples, or any other irritation. End section. Dialogue written by Euthrania Sela Centanares Cortez. Concluding dialogue written by Jamie Centanares Cortez. By the way, my love, I just remembered what I saw in the middle of the night when I was sleeping. I heard a faint thud, and when I opened my eyes, I saw on our bedroom wall to the upper right of the bookcase door, I've since been sleeping inverted with my back to the window, a sparkle of light that receded into the wall, like a flashlight suddenly turned off, though what I saw was not as big. It was like a tiny star in darkness that sparkles then dissipated. It pulsated only once then disappeared. I don't know what that was. But I think something supernatural is happening, which is nothing strange anymore. That was about 3 a.m. in the morning. I think the vortex sound is moving around, love. That is why it ceases then comes back. I hope it turns off the sound. A pea in a pod we both are, a twin conceived as one. Even in distance the union is demonstrated the most like an archway joined by 2 pillars. And neither with opposite time zones are we separate, for your sunset, your evening cannot exist without my sunrise, my morning. Eternity loses its meaning if it is supposed to imply that what began doesn't end, for then time enters the equation when no time exists, whereas if life moves freely and perpetually round and across the borderless space which is the universe, then that is the meaning of eternity. The waking state reveals nothing except matter in disorder and confusion. In such a state one invariably exclaims, "What is the matter?" In a dream state, one gets intimate with one's soul speaking, though in oracles, but in such discernible enchantment one wishes that not waking up would be a dream come true. Jamie. Good morning, my sweetheart. Your words are like a sonnet. Beautiful, sad at the same time, and magnificent. I shall write soon, my beloved one, for your tribute of our situation and status among the starship ranks of all universal precision, is one of adoration which we have for all life forms, and the very creation of them all ranks just as high as the low in which we of ourselves, have gone to the very depths of our soul to assist them all, as those beyond have also gone out of their way in assisting ourselves. I love you ever so much more and eternally forever. Sleep well, my Mahal Asauhoko. Make dreamland your nest, for I will meet you there. Closing words by Euthrania Sela Centanares Cortez.